Om Asamantarasya Meruprishtha Rishi Bhutalam Chanda Purma Devata Asanabhi Mantreno Viniyogo Prithitva Dhritabhita Devitam Vishnuna Dhita Panchadharayo Pavitra Asanam Guru.
Ready? Or just tell me when you're ready.
Om Vishnu Ram Tatsat Uddhav Grishma Mashe Krishna Pakshe Saptami Titho Gangaya Paschime America Bhu Khande Fistarville Isthane Momo second initiation under the first and second word.
Yeah, second, first and second.
Goswami
Okay, ready?
Yeah, you just need to listen to you, just a prayer.
Oh, licenses.
Anuses, right? Bhutani Jatavedam Punnehinam Amasya Kramana Purnam Bhravantu Bhravantu Om Purnaham Om Purnaham Om Purnaham Om Udgate Vashukane Samagayatri Brahmaputra Eva Sarvenu Shamsha Shri Sarvavali Shukrama Bhadrama Vada Om Ashakramana Shasti Bhravantu Bhravantu Aismatam Shasti Om Shasti Om Shasti Om Shasti Na Indra Vidha Sarva Shasti Na Vishwa Vedaha Shasti Na Taksha Vishwa Nami Shasti Na Vidaspati Dadatu Om Astakramana Riddham Bhravantu Bhravantu Om Riddhatam Om Riddhatam Om Riddhatam Om Riddham Shayamanam Bhajamantrayatam Jasya Shastinam Kamo Pradata Om Shastina Govinda Shastina Chutananda Shastina Vasudeva Vishnu Dadatu Shastina Naravai Shastina Padmanabha Purushattama Dadatu Shasti Shasti Shamangalo Keshu Mahano Shri Krishna Shachidananda Ghana Sarveshwareshwara Dadatu Om Shasti Om Shasti Om Shri Gurudevam Argam.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just change that. Okay. Maybe I should chant Jai Radha Madhava first. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayurano Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Malaba Girivardhari Gopi Jana Malaba Girivardhari Gopi Jana Malaba Girivardhari Gopi Jana Malaba Yashodananda Braja Janurandaguna Sodanandana Braja Janurandana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jayurando Madhava Kunya Bihari Jayurado Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Malabha Girivaradhati Gopijana Malabha Girivaradhati Yasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Sodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Chari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Haribo, 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 Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Paravatikacharya, also Tada Sitashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya Chananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha, Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shai Makunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuradam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Manamai Ki Jai Srimad Vilasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees. All glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarne Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Somagana Timadanda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Jakshur Minitam Yenatas Mai Shigurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance with transcendental knowledge. So, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today we are here because we have an initiation ceremony. So I'm going to briefly describe what initiation is. We have first and second initiations taking place today. So before that, I just want to talk about the whole purpose. Anyway, the whole purpose of initiation, which is taking place actually before Giriraj and the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas and Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, before the fire sacrifices started, usually there's something called the Sankalpa, which you did already, I heard of. And the Sankalpa really establishes what the purpose is, why we're here, what we're doing, what day of the month it is, and where we are, what planet we're on, etc., like that. So it's important to understand. Shukra, are you coming?
Yes.
Okay. So it's important to understand why we have this initiation. In other words, on an individual basis. I know why we have an initiation, but on an individual basis, why is there, are we taking initiation? Not we, but you all taking initiation. And what is your personal purpose? What is the purpose of initiation? And of course, Krishna in the Gita says several times, for several reasons, people come to Krishna consciousness. Chaturvidha bhajanti mam. They come because they're inquisitive, they come because they're looking for knowledge, they come because they're in distress, and they come because they're looking for wealth or some opulence in the material world. Those are the four basic reasons. But that's not really the purpose of initiation. Those are the purposes. If we can have some quiet. Anyway, if everyone could just be still for a second, it'd be great. So, so that's not really the purpose of initiation. Whoop. It's hard when everyone's moving around, especially in a small room like this. So the purpose of initiation, as far as Srila Prabhupada described it, is actually to become a servant of Krishna, a servant of Krishna's devotees. That's the purpose. Of course, everyone in this world is already a servant. But unfortunately, most of the people in this world are servants of Krishna's illusory energy. So they are Mahamaya Das or Mahamaya Dasi. So not Yogamaya Dasi and not Yogamaya Das. So that's our nature. As Srila Prabhupada would often describe, that our nature is to be servants, and we can't get out of that nature. We can't change that. Our nature is never to be master. Our nature is never to be the enjoyer. Krishna in the Gita says he's the enjoyer. He says, Bhoktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaranam Surinam Sarvabhutanam Yatva Mam Shantim Richati. Krishna says our peace formula is that one should understand that he's the enjoyer, he's the proprietor, he's the purpose of all the sacrifices, and he's the friend of all living entities. So Krishna is great, and we are Anu, we are small. So we should understand that. So we are taking initiation to become servants. Now, what does it mean to be a servant? Of course, you can say, I'm taking initiation because I want to go back to God, I want to be with Krishna. But actually, if you go back to God and go back to Krishna and Radharani in the spiritual world, that's what you're going to be doing there. It's not that you're going to be sitting around watching the rasa dance like a fancy TV show, right? You know, oh, I want to see the rasa dance. You know, it's not like that. You will be serving. If you don't have that attitude, you're not going back to the spiritual world. That's the attitude of the gopis. That's the attitude of the cowherd boys. That's the attitude of Yashoda Mai. That's the attitude of every resident in the spiritual world. Jivera Swarupohoi, Nitya Krishna Das, also Gopi Bharata Padakamala Dasa Dasa Dasanu Das. So that's the attitude of everyone. And so we're trying to become servants. So, but what does it mean to be servants in this world? Which is actually an interesting point. We have to be servants of a specific mission. Like Prabhupada was very much mission-oriented. Like you see, Prabhupada was extremely focused, Ekeha Gurunandana, on the mission given to him by his spiritual master. Of course, he obviously took care of his own sadhana, his own Krishna consciousness, which is essential, because without taking care of your own Krishna consciousness, you're never going to be able to carry out a Krishna conscious mission. As stated, Kali Kolera Dhamma Krishna Nama Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vinanaihe, Hari Pravartana. That without Krishna Shakti, you're not going to be able to do Harinam Kirtan, or chant the holy names, or serve Krishna. Because serving Krishna requires that one have the right consciousness. As Srila Rupa Goswami states, Anyabi Lashatashinyam Jnana Karma Navratam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktirutamam. That devotional service is defined or described by Srila Rupa Goswami as serving Krishna favorably and actively, but also having the right consciousness. So therefore, sadhana is an essential element in order to be a servant. It's not that one should just serve and not have sadhana, or not chant Hare Krishna properly. Because if one does that, that's not service. Service means to do what Krishna wants. And anyway, you have to have the loving attitude towards Krishna. And the only way you get the loving attitude is by purifying the heart. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahatvagni Nivrapanam. If your heart is not pure, and you're giving something to Krishna, then your motive is not pure, and Krishna doesn't accept it. I've seen sometimes when doing deity worship, if the person not doing the worship properly, doesn't do the worship properly because the person has the wrong consciousness, the deities reject the offering. I'll give you 2 examples of that. One time, the cook wasn't having the right consciousness, and we opened up the curtains, and the deities had thrown the plate on the floor. That happened one time. Another time, I went to a temple where the devotees were not serving with the right consciousness, and Krishna and Radharani looked like Lord Nrsingadev. I had to run out of the temple room because I was scared of the deities. Yeah. I mean, normally, Krishna's smiling, Radharani's smiling. It's just, oh my God, the service is not going on nicely here. Krishna changes his expression. Anyone who serves the deities has seen that Krishna changes his expression. So it's essential to have the right consciousness. It's essential to have the right sadhana. And that's the first point that I want to talk about. With the first initiation, involves having the right sadhana. And of course, specifically, there's the four regulated principles. But even more than that, there's the right way of chanting the holy name of Krishna. Of course, we know according to Lord Chaitanya, there's no hard and fast rules. But that's in reference to hard and fast Vedic rules, where you have to do something at a certain time of the day. Like the Gayatri mantras have to be said in the sanjas. But the Hari Nam mantra, the Hari Krishna mantra, Niyamena Tishtan, there's no hard and fast rules for chanting Krishna's name, material rules, but there are spiritual rules. And those rules are positive and negative, like in any system, especially of yoga, you have yam and niyam. Yam means the restrictions, and niyam means the positive injunctions. So restrictions, which we mentioned during every initiation, are the avoiding the 10 offenses on chanting. And I'll go over them very quickly, since hopefully you all know the 10 offenses on chanting. So first offense is to blaspheme the devotees of the Lord who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. Now, how I usually explain that offense is that instead of explaining it in a negative way, I say, let's put it in a positive way. What's the positive way? Instead of blaspheming devotees, you should praise devotees, you should appreciate devotees, you should serve devotees. Because service to devotees, Mahat Seva Mahur, Vimuktes, as Lord Rishabhadev says, is the door to liberation, a door to Krishna consciousness. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasastra. Koi lava mantra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasastra. There's many verses about this. Vaishnava Seva. In fact, that's one of the main teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it? Namaruchi, Jivadoya, Vaishnava Seva. These three teachings. Namaruchi, taste for the holy name. Jivadoya, being merciful to the jivas, everybody. In other words, to have love for all living entities. And serving the Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Seva. Very, very important. So, anyway, so that's how I explain the first offense. Let's take it in a positive instead of a negative. You serve the Vaishnavas. Don't criticize them. Don't think ill of them. Don't hurt them. Always think of serving the Vaishnava. And just like we are doing in the Krishna conscious movement, I may be sitting here as a guru, but I'm doing this as service to Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mission. Like we said before, that we're learning how to be servants, right? So I'm doing this as a service. I'm not thinking that I'm the enjoyer. I'm the servant. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if the guru thinks he's a guru, he's a guru. He's a cow or an ass. So, because our identity is Gopi Bharta Padagamala, Dasa 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 Anudasa, servant of a servant. So let's go through the other offenses. Second offense, of course, is to consider the names of the demigods like equal to or independent of the holy name of Lord Vishnu. So instead of that, we should understand Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Purnashuddha Nichimukto Binatvam Nama Namino. The Krishna is non-different from his name, and the names of the demigods are just the names of their position. Like Indra, Varuna, Vayu, any of the demigods is the name of their position. And they're not present in their holy name. And you are not going to get purified by chanting Indra, Indraya Namaha, Indraya Namaha. I don't know anyone who does that anyway. So, and of course, you could say, well, what about Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is a servant of Krishna. Vaishnavanam Yutha Shambhu. Shambhu is a servant of Krishna. So therefore, we chant Krishna's names, and that's what pleases Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva instructed Parvati in chanting Ram Nam. not his own name. He didn't say to Parvati, you chant Shiva Nam. He said, you chant Ram Nam, right? And of course, later on, Haridas Thakur initiated Parvati into Krishna Nam. That's a story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the next offense to be avoided is disobeying the order of the spiritual master. So, like Prabhupada showed us a perfect example of obeying the order of the Guru, because Prabhupada got the order to preach in the Western world and in English at an early age, and he was thinking of that order throughout his whole life. It was his main focus. And he was trying to do it, or trying to fulfill that order through business in the beginning, but that failed, and his household life also failed. And then Prabhupada, ultimately, at the ripe old age of 70, and that's pretty old. None of you are 70 here, so you don't know. I know what it means. I know direct experience what 70 means. And it's hard to think of crossing an ocean without any money in a steamship. Hard. I don't think I could do it. Takes a lot of determination, isn't it? I mean, just like I see some of my godbrothers are so determined, like Jayapataka Maharaj is so determined. In spite of health problems, he goes on like that, isn't it? And also my other godbrother, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who had heart attacks and everything like that. And he comes out of surgery, and practically the next day he's doing arti for the deities. And he can't even lift his hand. One of his disciples, did you see that? Yeah. Lifting his hand for him as he's doing arti. So that's determination. So anyway, so following, so they're both serving Prabhupada. I'm hoping to serve Prabhupada in the same way, because I don't want to get sick like that. But you know, to be so determined in all circumstances to serve His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. And so all of us are servants of Srila Prabhupada's mission. That's the point. Like, we're all connected to Prabhupada. So when someone takes initiation from me, it's serving Prabhupada's mission. Devotees oftentimes ask me, what can please you? Anything I can do for you? And I say, serve Prabhupada's mission. Serve Prabhupada's temples. Serve Prabhupada's preaching mission. But somehow or other become a servant of Prabhupada. So anyway, and that's that offense. Of course, I'm explaining it in a positive way rather than a negative way, which is actually much more tasty, the positive way. And so the next offense is one should not criticize blaspheme Vedic literatures or literatures that are pursuance of the Vedic version. So instead, we appreciate even religious scriptures that are preliminary. You know, even religious scriptures that don't directly point out, like most of the Vedas don't directly point out Krishna consciousness. Why? Because people are at different levels. And you have to preach to people at different levels according to their ability to understand. It's just practical, isn't it? So that's the point. So the next offense is to think the glories of the holy name are imagination. They're not imagination. As I mentioned before, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Bhukto Vinatvam Namadamino. Krishna is non-different from his name. You're associating with the Lord. The Lord is dancing to the tip of your tongue. Always remember that when you're chanting Krishna's name, you're directly dealing with Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna, that means, O Radharani, O energy of the Lord, please let me serve you. And so the next offense is to give some concocted interpretation about the holy name of the Lord. You know, make up some interpretation. Actually, there are bona fide meanings of the holy name, like the word Krishna is composed of two syllables. Krishna. Krish means to attract. And Na is short for Ananda, which means happiness or bliss. So Krishna. And also Na is sometimes meant as negating the material miseries. So Krishna. So anyway, so we don't come up with perverted interpretations saying that, you know, chanting makes me sleep better or something like that. Some crazy, so alpha waves or theta waves or something like that. I know some devotees have done that. They've taken an analysis of chanting, and they said, well, increases this wave or that wave in your brain waves. But that's not really, that's concocted meaning. Next offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting. Instead, don't commit sinful. You made promises. We all make promises at the time of initiation. We stick to it. We chant our rounds every day. We follow the four regulated principles. We eat Krishna prasadam. So we don't commit sin. Stick to our promises. Just like since I took initiation, when was that? 1971, end of 71, beginning of 72. I've chanted my rounds every day. I've never had to make up rounds from one day to another by Prabhupada's grace. Even when I've been sick, and everybody gets sick from time to time, lying in bed, I had my beads and I chanted and finished my rounds. That's determination. So we should be fixed like that. So next offense is to consider the chanting to be like a ritual that you find in the Vedas, like karma kanji ritual. We have different rituals. We do rituals in Krishna consciousness. Like we dress in a certain way. That's all right. Rituals are good. They're traditions. Krishna in the Gita, Arjuna in the Gita actually says that he objects to the battle of Kurukshetra because he says the family traditions are going to be destroyed. And Prabhupada said, that's a good argument. That's a good argument. But not in that case when Krishna says to do it. But he said it's very important to keep. I was listening to a class the other day, family traditions. So we have traditions in Krishna consciousness. Even the type of dhoti that I'm wearing, it's a modern invention. Because traditionally the sannyasis, they would wear like lungis or gamshas, white, like that. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan did not wear saffron. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur started this as a preaching tool. Because he saw that in South India, the Ramanuja sannyasis wore saffron, and he also saw the Ramakrishna mission, they wore saffron. So he thought, we want people to respect us, so they'll listen to us. So these are traditions, and we like traditions. But nothing compares to the chanting of the holy name, basically. It's pure, spiritual, has nothing to do with how you dress, nothing to do with your hairstyle. He has an interesting hairstyle. I guess a big Sikha that starts in the front and grows to the back. So, modern haircut, isn't it? Where it's short on the sides, but it looks like a big Sikha that begins. Anyway, Sikha is a tradition, and some Vaishnavas, they have big Sikhas, and some Vaishnavas little tiny Sikhas. Tradition. We like traditions, but it's not like chanting Hare Krishna. So one should, and there's many karma kanja rituals in the Vedas, but the holy name far surpasses. You can't even compare it. It's described that one chanting of Hare Krishna you cannot even compare with millions of Ashwamedha sacrifices, and if you do, you're an atheist. That's the point. So the next offense is to instruct the faithless about the glories of chanting Hare Krishna. Let's put it in a positive vein. Let's say when one talks to people, one should explain Krishna consciousness according to their ability to understand so they don't commit offenses. That's really important. So in other words, use your discretion. Know who you're talking to. And explain Krishna consciousness properly according to the person you're talking to. That's a no-brainer. Otherwise, you're going to be turning people off from Krishna consciousness, which is actually an offense. So the 10th offense is not having complete faith in chanting Hare Krishna, maintaining material attachments. Of course, one should try to give up one's material attachments. That's called anartha nivritti, getting rid of lust, anger, greed, illusion, and envy. And so it's not offensive to have material attachments. No one should feel guilty about having material attachments, but eventually we should try to purify them. It's not bad to have a dirty house, but you should try to clean it. The bad thing is if you just let it remain dirty, isn't it? If you think like, you come to your home one day and it's complete, there's dust all over the place and everything like this, well, it's all right. That's the offense. And so, of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says there's an overriding offense, which is inattentive chanting. Because by inattentive chanting, then all the offenses are committed. So that's one step. And then I just want to mention that these devotees are taking second initiation. Second initiation means Brahmin initiation. Brahmins have the specific duty of representing in a very official capacity the Krishna conscious movement. So their example is seen as representative of the Krishna conscious movement. In other words, people will look at them, oh, you're a Brahmin. And, you know, if they see a Brahmin going to Pizza Hut or something like that, they will not appreciate that. Everybody understands that? You know, so Brahmin has to act Brahminically. There's certain, you know, Brahmin, in India, they're so strict, the Brahmins, that if, even more strict than ISKCON Brahmins, like Prabhupada said one time, there's a lot of incense burning. Anyway, that's all right. I'll tolerate. Prabhupada said one time, I was listening to a class where he said the Brahmins in India, even if they joined the Indian army, they would actually have their own little stoves so they could cook for themselves so that, you know, they wouldn't have to eat in the general mess. General mess means where everybody else eats. So Brahmins should set a good example, and Brahmins, people, whatever they do will reflect upon the whole Krishna conscious movement. And in addition, Brahmins should exhibit the qualities mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, which is samantamak tabakshocham, shanti rajo mevacha, gyanaviganamastikyam, brahma karma svabhavajam. They should exhibit the qualities of being equipoised, self-controlled. Sama means equipoised. Dhamma means self-controlled or controlling the senses. Tapa, they should be austere in the sense of accepting everything favorable for pleasing Krishna and rejecting everything unfavorable. Not material austerity. Brahmins don't need to sleep on a bed of nails. But they do what's pleasing to Krishna. And of course, as we said, the most pleasing thing to Krishna is to please Prabhupada and serve Prabhupada's mission. As far as I know, that's the most pleasing thing to Krishna. Because if you please Krishna's devotee, Krishna's pleased. As we know from the Adi Purana, Krishna says, the person who says he is my devotee is not my devotee, but the person who says he is a devotee of my devotee is my devotee. Okay? So, shocham and cleanliness, a Brahmin should show the utmost example of cleanliness, both internal and external. Internal, of course, by, yak smaret pundarikaksam savaya vyantara, always remembering Krishna, always chanting Krishna's name. When I was with Prabhupada, he would always be chanting. Even when Prabhupada went to an interview, with Prabhupada to some interviews, Prabhupada would have his hand in his bead bag, and while the other person was talking, he would basically be going, Hare Krishna, softly, like that. Of course, you don't want to offend people by chanting in their face like that. Unfortunately, I did that when I first joined the movement, when I went to see my mother. She'd be talking to me, and I'd be going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And she got really upset. So you should be nice to your mother. So, shocham, and then tolerant, religious, and very important, studying Prabhupada's books. Jnana vijnana. That means, and applying what you hear and read in Srila Prabhupada's books. Very, very important. Application. Prabhupada's books are meant for application, not just for hearing and enjoying, but for applying in your own life. Jnana vijnana and being religious. Brahma karma svabhavajam. Anyway, these are the qualities of a Brahman. So, if we follow these particular instructions, then we can really become, getting back to the original point, then we become servants, and Krishna will be very pleased with us. Then we will be happy. We'll only be happy when we try to make Krishna happy. Try to make Guru happy, try to make Krishna happy. That's a secret. As long as we try to make ourselves happy, it doesn't work. Because then we think we're the center. As Krishna says about the demons in Bhagavad Gita, Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. You know, someone who has demoniac mentality, of course not too many demons running around, because some of them are politicians in America. But anyway, that's another subject matter. But the demoniac mentality is thinking, Ishwara, I'm the controller. I'm the boss. You know, we all want to be Ishwara, not realizing that Krishna is Parameshwara. He's the supreme controller. Ishwara Parama Krishna. Ishwara Ham, I am the controller. Aham Bhogi, I am the enjoyer. Siddhoham, I am perfect. Balavan, Sukhi, you know, I am what? Powerful, strong. Adishesh, I play baseball nicely. Do you ever think you're strong, Adishesh? So, actually, we are dependent on Krishna. Krishna could take away, Krishna in the Gita says, I'm the strength of the strong, the intelligence of the intelligent. Isn't it? So in a second, and then with the time factor, like when you get to be my age, you won't be so strong anymore. What do you think about that?
I'll still be strong.
He said, I'll still be strong. Don't bet on it, kiddo. So, you know, actually the time factor, kalena sarvatra gavira ranghasa, that time factor is very powerful. Takes away everything. That's Krishna. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Kalawasbi, right? Bhagavad Gita. So, we should try to get out of the consciousness, because we're thinking we're God. If I were to think I'm powerful, I'm intelligent, I'm the enjoyer, aham bhogi, siddhoham, balavan sukhi, I am very powerful and happy. My happiness is most important. Then you end up in big hot water. What do you think, Adi says? He has to agree, but he'll learn. It takes time. So Balavan Sukhi. So anyway, yeah, we're servants. And that gives us happiness. As soon as we stop trying for our own happiness, we try to give Krishna happiness. You cannot imagine how happy you will be. It's amazing. It's actually amazing when you come to that platform. Anyway, so this is initiation. That's my brief or not so brief talk about initiation. And now we'll proceed. We have one name giving. So the way we do this is you offer obeisances. Of course, it's kind of confined here. Offer obeisances to Prabhupada, to Krishna, and me, or me as a representative of Prabhupada, and then I'll give you your name. Okay? And then, I hope I have the beads with me. Oh yeah, I have the beads. And then after that, Adi Shesh, you can get your Brahman thread, so you can show off to everybody. Very nice. And Nita has a nice Vaishnava family too. Husband's Vaishnava, daughters are Vaishnavas, just fantastic. Okay. Kind of cramped quarters here. So, And then we, of course, we ask the questions about the regulated principles and the number of rounds chanted. So what are the four regulated principles?
Atharma Chaturvidhani, Tirtam Panam Striyastina. So no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, and Panam
Eating.
Meat eating.
Meat eating. And fish and eggs.
Yeah.
And anything that moves.
Yeah.
Or anything that used to move. Because plants move too, but anyway. Okay, so I'll give you very special, and how many rounds every day?
16.
16 rounds. And if you have time to chant more on Ekadashi, it's good. Ekadashi is really important. The main purpose of Ekadashi is to increase our Krishna consciousness. I mean, one can engage in some austerities on Ekadashi, but you have to see what maximizes your Krishna consciousness. Like I know some devotees who stay up all night, and the next day they're completely finished. And so that doesn't maximize their Krishna consciousness. It minimizes it. You know, they just have to sleep the whole day, and they're just like completely exhausted. So what I do in Ekadashi, I take very simple prasad, but if I don't have anything else to do, like preaching engagements, I'll chant 64 rounds on Ekadashi. Yeah, it's really nice. When you chant 64 rounds, it changes your whole life. Even if you just do it once, it actually changes your whole consciousness. Okay, so you get the beads with your right hand. And your name, now this is actually a very special name. All the names I give. Actually, people who know me know that I usually give names of Radharani, so. To ladies, not to. So your name is Anuttara Radhika Devi Das. Anuttara Radhika. And the word Anuttara with a long A at the end means the best. There's no one better than. And of course Radhika, I think you all know what Radhika means. Anuttara. Anuttara.
Anuttara.
Anuttara, long A at the end. Anuttara Radhika Devi Dasi. So it's a name. I mean, basically Radharani, who is the best. There's no one who surpasses Radharani. Wow. What a name. I wish I had such a nice name. And, all right, Adi Shesh. You get your Brahman thread. You offer your obeisances. All this is on YouTube, if someone wants to see it later on. So it's on YouTube and Facebook and Zoom. All those simultaneously. So, try to understand that Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the best baseball player.
Yeah.
Best baseball, best cricket player.
Soccer.
Soccer too. Krishna plays all these games perfectly, and nobody can defeat him. He's the best fighter. So you have to take off your chadar like that.
Okay.
Okay. Completely.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's all right.
He's getting there.
Definitely looks like a Brahmin. So put your hand in your head through there, and I'll give you the mantra after the fire sacrifice. Okay, Jai. So Prabhupada said that Brahmins should exhibit the qualities of Brahman, which I mentioned before. And he said if they don't exhibit the qualities of the Brahman, you could call them sacred thread holders instead of Brahmins. Prabhupada said that's Prabhupada's words. Okay, so we can continue with the fire sacrifice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hori Om Agna Ayahi Vitayanna Dabata Nihata Samshashi Hori Om Nile Purahitam Jagatadevam Rikratam Utaram Ratnadhatam Hori Om
Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Should we have a kirtan while you're doing these things? Is it?
Yeah.
We'll turn on the amplifier. It's on? Yeah, I'll have a kirtan with the guitar.
You don't need to pick, right?
No, I don't need to pick. Nama Om Vishnu Jaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutalaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namane Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya No cartels.
Okay.
They play them. Someone could play the drum. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Guruvani Pachar, Nay, Nirvisesha, Shunyavadi, Hasyachadi, Satarane.
Om Bhu Swaha Idam Vishnu Vedam Namamah Swaha 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 Om Bhur Bhuvasha Swaha Idam Achita Idam Namamah Swaha 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 Om Bhur Bhuvasha Swaha Idam Ananta Idam Namamah Swaha 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 Om Bhurvasha Swaha Idam Narayana Idam Namamah Swaha Swaha Swaha
Tell me when we can have a kirtan.
Yeah.
Right now, you know,
Yeah.
because when they're throwing the grains, we won't have a kirtan. Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati
My name, the
Bir Krishna Goswami.
Goswami.
Swami iti namini Swaha idam gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam gurubhe idam namamah Swaha
Nama Hamsa Nikishaya Prabhupada Sudhida Sudhi Nisaryan Kasya Vakya Nivadi.
Om Dikha Gurubhe Swaha Swaha idam Dikha Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Dikha Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Swaha Idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatyo Deshotarini Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshumelitam Jana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Swaha idam Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Ishtapitam Jena Bhutale Shangarupa Kadamarcham Dadati Shapadantikam Swaha Idam Rasha Acharjaya idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Rasha Acharjaya idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Rasha Acharjaya idam namamah Swaha Om Bandi Aham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Gurana Vishnavanksha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagrugnathanitam Tam Sadivam Sadhaitam Savadutam Purijana Shaitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam Swaha Idam Guru Radha Krishna Sarva Vaishnava Idam Namamo Swaha 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 Om Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshotarini Swaha Idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Param Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Putrishtacarya Prabhupada idam namamah Swaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namini Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Shri Vashabhanavi Devi Detaya Kripadhe Krishna Sambandho Vijnanadayini Prabhuve Namaha Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Swaha idam Parameshti Gurubhe idam namamah Swaha Om Madhujala Om Shri Vashabhanavi Devi Detaya Kripadhe Krishna Sambandha Vijnanadayini Prabhuve Namaha Swaha idam Sarva Gurubedam Namamo Swaha Swaha idam Sarva Gurubedam Namamo Swaha स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमो स्वाहा ओम माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाद्र श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिद श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्ते स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणी श्रीरूपानुग विरुद्ध अपसिद्धांतो धान्तुहारिणी स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः स्वाहा नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बर संभूदे पदम्भुजायते नमः स्वाहा इदं परत्परा गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं परत्परा गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं परत्परा गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिनी गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुग्रवरायते स्वाहा इदं महागुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं महागुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं महागुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम गौराविवाश्र मुहूर्तमेदं निर्दिष्ट सज्जन प्रियः वैष्णव साधवम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः स्वाहा इदं परमेष्टि गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं परमेष्टि गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं परमेष्टि गुरुभेदं नमः स्वाहा वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा इदं सर्ववैष्णवेभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्ववैष्णवेभ्यो नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं सर्ववैष्णवेभ्यो नमः स्वाहा नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिनि गौरतीशे नमः स्वाहा इदं गौरचन्द्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं गौरचन्द्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं गौरचन्द्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा ओम पंचतत्म आत्माकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तवतारं भक्तकं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्राय इदं नमः स्वाहा हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते स्वाहा इदं कृष्णाय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं कृष्णाय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं कृष्णाय इदं नमः स्वाहा ओम जयतं श्रुतुर्पं मम मंदमदिर्गतिः मत्सर्वस्य पदं भुजो राधा मदन मोहनो स्वाहा इदं सम्बन्ध आदिदेव मदन मोहनाय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा सम्बन्ध आदिदेव मदन मोहनाय इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा सम्बन्ध आदिदेव मदन मोहनाय स्वाहा ओम दिव्या विदर्ण कल्पध्रुमाधौ श्रीमद्रत्नागार सिंहासनस्तु श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविंद देवी पेष्टाली विश्वमानो शमरुमि स्वाहा इदं अभिदेया आदिदेव गोविंदाय नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं अभिदेय आदिदेव गोविंदाय नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा अभिदेय आदिदेव गोविंदाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्रीमद्रासरसारम्भी वंशीवतो ततस्थित कर्षणवेणुशनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीहस्ते नमः स्वाहा इदं प्रयोजन आदिदेव गोपीनाथ इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं गोपीनाथ इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं गोपीनाथ इदं नमः स्वाहा ओम तप्त तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये स्वाहा इदं राधिका इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं राधिका इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं राधिका इदं नमः स्वाहा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्वाइदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्वाइदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्त्वाइदं नमः स्वाहा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे इदं राधा कृष्ण भाम इदं नमः स्वाहा स्वाहा स्वाहा
Tell me when is a good time for kirtan. Yeah. ओम पाहि न एनसे स्वाहा ओम पाहि न विश्ववेदसे विष्णुवे स्वाहा ओम जग्गम पाहि हरे विभु स्वाहा इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम सर्वं पाहि शिवपते इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम पाहि न अंत एकयः पाहि उत मितियः पाहि ऊर्जं तृतीयः पाहि ग्रीवीषुच शेषी विष्णु इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम पुनराजा निवतस्य पुनः विष्णु आयुषः पुनश्च पाहि ताक्षहं स्वाहा इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम सहरस्य निवतस्य विष्णु पिनस्य धारयः विश्वस्त सपुरि विश्वस्त सपुरि स्वाहा इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम अज्ञातं यत् अज्ञानतं यस्य क्रियते मिथु विष्णु तदस्य कल्पयं तद्धि वेथो यथाशुकं स्वाहा इदं विष्णुवेदं नमः स्वाहा ओम प्रजापते विष्णु एतम एतानि अन्न विश्वजातानि परित्वाहाव यत्कामस्ते जुहुमायन्त अन्तः
Vayagayam Shama Poiri Rohininam Swaha Idam Vishnuvidam Namamo Swaha Om Bhu Swaha Om Bhu Swaha Idam Vishnuvidam Namamo Swaha 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 Om Bhurvasha Swaha Idam Achyuta Idam Namamo Swaha 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 Om Bhurvasha Swaidam Narayanidam Namamo Swaha 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 Om Bhurvasha Swaidam Anantaidam Namamo Swaha Swaha Swaha.
You ready? Okay, we're finished now?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but you can.
well, you have more to do or what?
Huh?
You have more to do with fireside?
Yeah, just you need to just put the hoti.
Oh, the Purnahoti. Yeah, so do the Purnahoti first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Purnahoti is very important.
So this one hold like that. Okay.
Now?
Yeah. This is put like that. Om Jajamana. Om Jajamanam Kastavam Pamilihatim Devi. Om Gurubhe Swaha Param Gurubhe Swaha Om Sarva Gurubhe Swaha Om Girirajaya Swaha Om Balagopalaya Swaha Om Sarva Vigna Vinasan Singha Devaya Swaha Om Dikha Gurubhe Swaha Om Sikha Gurubhe Swaha.
And you hold the banana in the palms of your hands.
Namo Brahmano Devayo Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditayo Krishnayo Govindayo Namo Namo Brahmana Devayo Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditayo Krishnayo Govindayo Namo Namo Brahmana Devayo Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditayo Krishnayo Govindayo Namo
Yes. Where do we start? Mark banana.
But you got to place it back. It's over there. You got to place it back on the fire. Place it on the fire. Whoops. Careful.
Om Purnamada Purnamadashyate Purnasya Purnamevaya Purnameva Bhavishyate Horihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरिः ओं भूर्भुवकयान चित्र आवलुति वृदशकाशिष्टाय वृत्ता ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वाहा सप्तमदनम् अधिष्ठिते मन्दराजचिदिराजवसु ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वाहा ॐ अविष्टानं सखिनम् अविद्याजत्रिणं स्वाहा शतं दूषयते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ओम आदौ शांति अंतरिक्षम शांति पृथ्वी शांति वायु शांति तेजो शांति औषधिश शांति ब्राह्मण शांति वैष्णव शांति शांतिरस्तु हरि ओम शांति शांति
All right. You have kirtan now.
ओम स्वस्ति न गोविंद स्वस्ति न उच्युतानंद स्वस्ति नो वासुदेव स्वस्ति नो नारायण नरवै स्वस्ति नो पद्मनाभ पुरुषोत्तम दधातु स्वस्ति नो विशेषण विशेषर स्वस्ति नो ऋषिकेश हरि दधातु स्वस्ति नो वैनतेय हरि स्वस्ति नो सुत गुणो भागवत दधातु स्वस्ति स्वस्ति शुभ मंगलो केश महान श्री कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद घन श्याम ओम शांति शांति शांति
Okay. Ready? Go. And you can circumambulate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasade Gaurabhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasade Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasade Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Jai, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol.
जय बीर कृष्ण स्वामी गुरु महाराज की
Prabhupada
जय
ki
बीर कृष्ण
jai.
स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय कृष्ण स्वामी गुरु महाराज की
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Nice fire sacrifice. And then now we have to give the Gayatri mantras. Okay. What? Oh, you want me to do a namaste or sing a day prayers? Okay, give me a second. Let me change the camera. Namaste, Narasingaya. Namaste, Narasingaya. La da la, Dayane. La da la, Dayane. Rajakachi Purvachaha. Silataka Kalaye. Sina Bhadato Sina. Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, nice fire sacrifice. Okay. All right, just show everybody. Whoops. Okay, see.